Hey everyone, Tagless Haynes here from Just the Tip of Fantasy Football Podcast. I wanted to come on today to address one question that I've been receiving lately. Since it is Dynasty off season, I've been getting some more Dynasty questions. One that has come up recently is, what am I looking to get back for a top tier quarterback in a Dynasty rebuild? And obviously this is dependent on the format, whether or not it's single quarterback, super flex. Values of quarterbacks can change across leagues, scoring settings. So you want to make sure you have an idea of what format, what scoring settings there are within this league, before you assess what the value is for the quarterback that you're trading. So I want to look at a couple of things here. I'm going to show you a roster that needs to be completely reconstructed. This is a bad team. The normal amount of draft assets, no value from just about most of the players on this roster right now, no trade value. So it's really going to take some work to turn this team around. And you want to put yourself in a position where you're not just donating to the league. So what I'm going to be focusing on here is I want to add young wide receivers. I want to try to package those young wide receivers in deals, young proven receivers. I want to try to get the Devontae Smiths of the world, the Chris Olaves of the world, Treylon Burks, Garrett Wilson, some of these players. Jameson Williams, he's a great one to target right now. He was just injured for most of the season. His value is down compared to some of those other guys, so he's another guy I would look at targeting as well. So those are the players I kind of want to package into deals. And then obviously I want to try to accumulate some draft assets, some draft capital on top of the capital that I already have. So if we look at this dynasty rebuild, this complete reconstruction, you're looking at Joe Burrow having the top value on this team. I'm going to use the Dynasty Nerds Dynasty GM mode, or whatever you want to call it, to try to assess here. Dynasty Nerds are very popular. They have a great podcast. This is a great service. It's just a small annual fee, and you get access to so much. So I'm going to look at the roster that I have here, and Joe Burrow clearly is going to be my highest valued player. Which in a single quarterback format, this is a single quarterback league, is not saying a whole heck of a lot. And then Courtland Sutton, Aaron Rodgers, Kareem Hunt, and James Cook. And I think James Cook, his value is going to go up. So I think the two assets that you have right now that you could potentially flip to try to gain more assets and future assets are Joe Burrow and James Cook. And you're not playing with a lot right here. So I think you got to trade Joe Burrow here. I think you have to get something back. Your hands kind of forced. I don't love the idea of like undervaluing quarterbacks in single quarterback formats and just trying to get them off your team, and try to get anything back, because they're going to put up those points week in and week out. And you might find that people have quarterback 13, 14, 15, 16 as backups on their roster, and they just don't want to trade those players. So I don't know how you don't know necessarily how you're going to replace Joe Burrow, but let's look at it here. So if I'm looking to trade a quarterback, I want to trade obviously that quarterback to a quarterback needy team. That team, I would like them to be close to competing, so they have more motivation to trade for a quarterback. And also I want to see if they have some draft capital. If they have multiple first-round picks in this year's draft, next year's draft, whenever, they're probably going to be more willing to part with one or two of those picks. So these are some things that you want to look out for when you're making these trades. So I'm going to target a team that has 3 first-round picks. They're also up and coming. They have some good foundation for running backs. Ramondre Stevenson is on this team. Kenneth Walker is on this team. Jalen Waddle is on this team. So they're looking like they're on an upward trajectory. So I'm going to offer them Joe Burrow and Courtland Sutton. This is a total value of about 7,600 points. And what I'm looking to do here is I want to tier down at quarterback, and I want to try to get younger at receiver, and that's why I added Courtland Sutton to this trade. He's 27 going on 28. I want to target a guy like Marquise Brown. Marquise Brown, who's probably going to be the number one in Arizona now that DeAndre Hopkins is looking like he's going to be traded out of there. He's under 25 years old. He's very talented. He had a great first 7 or 8 weeks of this season, and then he got hurt. And those are the guys that you want to kind of try to target as well, guys whose value is down because of injury, guys who are still on their first contract, who are under 25. So I'm going to look to get one of his 23 first rounders. He has 102, 107, and 108. I'm going to go after 107. I think 102 is probably a little steep to add into this mix with these players. So I'm going to look for Marquise Brown, the 107, a 25 pick, because if you're going 2 years out, he's probably okay with trading a first round pick, just to get this deal done from 2 years out. He might not be, but I think certain players are going to make this trade and just not view that as something that has high value because it's so far in the future. So if he already has 223s, he has 224s next year, then he's going to be more willing to part with that 25 first. So after he trades his 23 first, he'll have 2 left. Kenny Pickett, I'm going to throw in this deal too. I want to try to replace Joe Burrow. I'm going to tier down. I know it's a big tier down. We don't know what Kenny Pickett's going to be. Showed some flashes at the end of the season there. But still, you could take a future pick, and you could try to go out and trade for other quarterbacks too, who might be backups on their team. You could look at, there are teams that have like Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins, and you could try to target Kirk Cousins. Or you have teams that have Kyler Murray and Trevor Lawrence, and you could try to go after one of those guys. Kyler Murray's value is down right now because of his injury past, and they might be looking to part with Kyler Murray. So these are some things that you can look at in the future too. But this is the trade I want to make here. I think it gets done. Yes, it looks like there's a little bit of a discrepancy, but it's still within kind of this 4 to 5% variance. This team only experiences, the team trading away Marquise Brown, Kenny Pickett, and the picks, a negative 2% change to this team. But that's just really their depth and their total team value. Their starting lineup is going to be much stronger now because they have Joe Burrow. And then you're going to get a 4% variance. You're looking for total team value. You're looking to acquire more pieces, more depth, more assets. So you're looking for total team value. They're kind of looking for starting lineup value. After I make that trade, I want to go in and I want to try to see how I can expand off of that. So if I've just acquired Marquise Brown, if I've just acquired another first round pick this year, a first round pick in the future, and I've replaced my quarterback, granted, obviously not nearly as talented, I might look to try to go add a proven wide receiver with that additional pick that I just gained from this draft. And the reason why I want to do that is because 107 is probably looking to be like someone like Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison is very much like Devontae Smith in the way he plays, in his size, in his very, very slim body type. So why not just go out and try to get Devontae Smith? He's proven. He's on a loaded offense. He has an elite quarterback who's looking like he's going to be in that elite tier if he hasn't already reached that level. So I want to try to go out and I want to try to go get a Devontae Smith. I want to try to go get a Chris Olave. I want to go try to get Garrett Wilson, somebody who has shown me that they can perform high at this level. So I'm going to go flip that 107. I'm going to throw in Antonio Gibson. He's at this point just kind of like a throw-in, doesn't have a lot of value, but he's young. He's still in that first contract. Some people might view him a little bit higher than others. And then I'm going to throw in my 201. And the reason why I'm going to do that is just to try to make this trade a little bit more realistic. And I don't know what the 201 is going to be. We don't know what that 107 is going to be. We just don't have these answers. And you have already accumulated a future 25 first. You have all of your picks for next year. It's okay to throw in, the second round pick, in my opinion, and you still win this trade. According to this, you're going to see a 3% change on your roster because you are acquiring Devontae Smith. So you're going to, again, win this trade because you are adding those pieces. And at the end of all of this, what you're going to see here, and this is comparing these two trades, and obviously if you're acquiring Devontae Smith, you're acquiring a first-round pick, Kenny Pickett, Marquise Brown, your total team value is going to change by about 1,500 points according to this Dynasty nerd format, which is pretty significant. You're going to get 2 young wide receivers here, and Devontae Smith and Marquise Brown. First contract going to be, Marquise Brown's going to be the wide receiver 1 in his team. Likely, Devontae Smith is the wide receiver 2, but on offense that is so good and so explosive and puts up so many points. this team has the 106 this year, so with the 106 you could probably add like a Jackson Smith and Jigba. You could likely get Jordan Addison at that spot too, and then you have a third young wide receiver, and that is your wide receiver core of the future. Those are players that are going to be around for the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and who are going to produce. And this is a PPR format, single quarterback PPR. So now you are gathering these very young, good assets, and you still have that additional 25 first 2 years from now. You have your replacement at quarterback, and it costs you really Joe Burrow. Courtland Sutton, you're not getting a lot back for right now. You might be able to get something for him in the middle of the season if he's performing better than he performed this past season, but he's going to be 28. It's going to be hard to trade him for more than, say, a second-round pick or a pair of second-round picks. And you're throwing in an Antonio Gibson and a 201 as a sweetener. This is a good amount of assets for the players that you're getting rid of. And if you are in a dynasty rebuild and you don't have a lot of assets and your quarterback is your best asset, this is the trade you want to make. If you have any questions or comments, or you want to tell me that this is a terrible idea, these things aren't ever going to happen, blah, 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 go ahead, leave a comment. Subscribe to our page, Just the Tip, a fantasy football podcast. We're on YouTube and all audio platforms. And let me know if you've made a trade like this in the past and how it's worked out for you. But I think if you make this trade, if you acquire these assets, you're going to be very happy. And these are the moves that you want to think about when you're in a complete teardown rebuild. All right, takers, have a great day. It was nice seeing you, nice talking to you, and we'll catch you next time.